Maria Petrova from Bulgaria, who was favored to win this competition. These gymnasts will be competing with rope, ball, clubs, and ribbon. 4 different disciplines, and those 4 scores added together will crown the gold medalist.
You mentioned John doing very well in the semifinals. She and her teammate actually were the only 2 athletes to score above 9.9. She certainly is one of the favorites with the judges. Long name and long legs. One thing that she does extremely well throughout this exercise is she gets incredible coverage. Really covers this 40 by 40 mat very well.
Katerina Serebranskaya, from the same country that brought us Lilia Podkapayeva, the individual all-around champion in artistic gymnastics. And if this is the first time for you seeing rhythmic, there are many, many differences, which we will go over as the broadcast continues.
I think she enjoys being in this position, already setting the standard and the pressure of the competition. Watch this, one of the only athletes to do a triple roll, a risk element. She only gets a very quick peek in between each of those elements.
Scoring near perfect, 9.950.
And so she firmly establishes herself as one to beat as we take a look at Maria Petrova. You see the graphic, 3-time world champion. As I mentioned earlier, she was listed as and largely regarded as the woman to beat here, and her scores have not been up to that score you just saw from Serebranskaya.
And John, unlike Serebranskaya, who has a jammed-packed, very high difficulty in her exercise, this is a much different look. Very dramatic. Every move is accentuated. This is her trademark, her turning ability. You will see this done throughout the entire exercise.
This sport is so popular in her native Bulgaria. These competitions are sold out on a regular basis throughout Europe. It's a college sport for women in Bulgaria and throughout the other Eastern European countries, and the equipment is actually sold at sporting goods stores. You would not find that certainly here in the United States. Apparatus are used in physical education classes all across Europe. And a good look at the 20-year-old world champion who has many times flirted with and threatened retirement.
A whole lot of passion in this routine. She is very experienced. Of course, this being one of her more difficult tosses, only a double roll, unlike Serebranskaya, who did a triple roll.
And she is not going to be happy with that score, 9.733, which puts her behind Serebranskaya. We'll be back. Vitrichenko from the Ukraine. Like her teammate Serebranskaya, she is also one of those favored to come away with gold. There are 3 or 4 gymnasts here
who have the ability to do that. Elena is 19 years old.
She really proved her worth in the preliminary competition. She had 9/8 across the board, and then in the semifinals, not a score less than 9.75, and as I said, quite capable of winning the gold medal.
Stage. First appeared in '84 in Los Angeles. American Jessica Davis was eliminated in the qualifying rounds, so you will not see her among these 10 today. And it was in 1962 that the International Gymnastics Federation officially recognized this sport as a sport. And the next year, the first Worlds was held in Budapest. Be in the United States, but this is one of this crowd's, and has been for the last 4 days, favorite gymnast from Odessa, Olena Vітриченко. 6 months ago, while she was on tour, she met Russian artistic gymnast Alexei Nemov.
You remember, John, you mentioned she has that ability to just draw the crowd in. Very difficult tosses at the end of her routine, 2 in a row, as a matter of fact, into a pre-acrobatic skill. Remember, those are risk elements, and will draw some very high scores.
Big score for her, and is going to put more pressure on Petrova. And more pressure on Larissa Lukyanenko from Belarus.
Already a very interesting, very creative start. Remember, this is so difficult to do, to maintain that control and balance before the start of the music.
That's impossible.
Amazing.
I wanted to finish my story about Vітриченко and Nemov, but I'll do that later as we watch Lukyanenko.
I have really found this athlete to be one of the most unique gymnasts. She has very interesting elements in all her exercises. Of course, the beauty of rhythmic gymnastics is the creativity of the sport, the innovation. You will never see the same routine twice.
A year for 10 days during the summer. Her parents are both factory workers. They are indeed watching now and proud of what she has accomplished. Living and training in Minsk, 22-year-old Larissa Lukyanenko from the same Russian Republic, or ex-Soviet Republic, that brought us Svetlana Boginskaya and Vitaly Sherba, whom you both saw in artistic gymnastics. And the scores today in the finals are coming very quickly, Elfie.
Well, the judges have seen these routines many times before. Remember, this is the 3rd day of competition. They're familiar with these athletes.
As I say that, this is the latest score. And that could mean that they're having a conference. There are 5 judges for composition and 5 judges for execution, a total of 10, and 2 scores in each of those panels will be thrown out, and the remaining scores are averaged to give Larissa and the rest their scores. Again, the 4 routines, rope, ball, clubs, and ribbon, are contested before we have the individual all-around gold medalist. And notice the difference in the body types here in rhythmic gymnastics as well. Not as much power in the legs required here on the mat. It is more of a balletic movement, enhanced by the apparatus, in this case the rope.
Well, this, she says, is her best apparatus. It should have been a comfortable start for her, and this is perhaps why the judges are having some problems. You see the rope clearly getting caught, the front toe there, basically messes up the choreography and the flow of the routine.
Still no score. It's up now, and it is a low and being booed of 9-4-6-6. We'll be back with more rhythmic in a moment. 16-year-old Yana Batrachina from Russia. She is one of the crowd favorites here. She's a tremendous dancer. Her parents are here for the first time in the United States. Farhad and Ida. There's her dad there. Now, interestingly enough, prior to this, he has not watched a routine. He will hide his eyes. I'm not sure if he's going to do that in the finals, but he'll hide his eyes and not watch until he hears his wife applaud and the rest of the audience.
Can you imagine coming all the way to the Olympic Games and not watching your daughter perform? But we should hear some loud cheers from this audience because they have absolutely fallen in love with this athlete. She is young, she is fast, and she has a lot of difficulty.
Word from the booth is that Dad is sneaking defeat. Her parents are staying with an American family. The Americans don't speak Russian. They don't speak any English. There they are.
And balance, control, showing so many elements here that the judges are looking for.
His music and his performance not as playful as her others. Yana Batrachina, who posted some of the highest scores in preliminary competitions.
She had a fantastic day in the semifinals. She was actually third. Of course, the scores start from scratch. Watch this toss with her back foot. Incredible flexibility and amplitude in that leap. Catches with one hand and into another toss.
Let's see. Oh, Dad is watching. This is something new.
Bravo.
In case you hadn't guessed already, there are no flips or handsprings or tumbling allowed. In fact, if you did any of that, you would be marked off on it in rhythmic, so it is disparate from artistic gymnastics in that manner. Yana has been at the National Training Center since she was 15. She'd spent some time at the legendary Round Lake, former Soviet Union National Training Center. And her score is coming up, 9.850. So she is in third place at this time, behind Vitrichenko and Serebranskaya. Tatiana Ogrisko, from another ex-Soviet republic, Belarus. She is also from Minsk. She's been a member of the national training team for 4 years. This is a huge sport in Eastern Europe.
She is not one of the contenders for the gold medal, John. However, in the semifinals, she's actually placed 6th heading into the finals today. She was very consistent on all her routines.
Unlike artistic gymnastics, the semifinal or the qualifying scores are not carried over. This is completely new life, so all 4 of these scores are new, and it will be only these 4 scores that decide gold, silver, and bronze.
Of course, the judges are going to be keeping a very close eye on the originality, because really that's where the distinction lies with the very best. The top 10 in this competition is in the risks that they will take with tosses such as those and originality.
Same type of format used here as far as you can select your own exercise music, and all 4 of them are different in the 4 apparatus. And in this sport, not too long ago, it wasn't recorded music. There would actually be a piano player from the Ukraine who had a 9950 on her first routine. The girls are performing with the ball now. Serebranskaya means silver in Russia. She has it within her power to turn that to gold, obviously. Her scores have been huge all through the competition. Tradition and then a recognized sport. As I mentioned earlier, used to be a pianist live out on the floor. And there's a story of a routine once in Eastern Europe where the gymnast was in danger of going over the time limit. The pianist recognized it and sped up the routine. She was able to avoid a deduction. Katerina Serebranskaya.
Well, John, she led the field after the first rotation, and it looks as if she will be scoring another high score on this event. Remember, in the semifinals, she had a 9933. With this event, no mistakes at all.
Another 9950. It will take a near perfect 10 for Petrova or anybody else challenging to beat her. Maria Petrova, 5th, entering this rotation. This she has always listed as her favorite apparatus.
but she is vulnerable to mistakes, as we saw in the preliminary competition. Her only mistake came on this apparatus. Watching all the competitors, I really feel that Petrova is perhaps the most fluid with the ball. She is a master of making this look like an extension of her body.
It is easy to see why she's the world champion. Maria Petrova.
Another work of art. This was absolutely beautiful. You can tell the audience well appreciates the choreography. One of her very difficult toss skills, of course, losing sight of the apparatus will give her risk points, and then the trap element, very common in this event.
How do you compare this to Serebranskaya, who's been getting such high scores?
I really am surprised that they haven't been posting higher scores for Petrova.
9-7, 8-3. This, to me, is amazing. What happens before the music even begins?
Incredible display of balance and control. When we have an opportunity here to compare each athlete, what the two Ukrainians do is pack their routine with difficulty. As compared to Petrova, where every move is accentuated, there's perhaps more breaks between the more difficult elements. Not to say that it is less difficult.
Gorgeous. Olena Vітриченko, I mentioned earlier that 6 months ago she met Russian artistic gymnast and Olympic gold medalist Alexei Nemov. The two of them are now friends, we should say. Alexei has gone back to Russia.
Well, everyone enjoyed this amazing performance. Side lead, watch that very interesting trap skill. Remember, it's a risk element when she loses sight of the equipment. I think she really has the most incredible body technique, perfect flexibility. It's not overdone, and obviously interesting routines.
Her score of 9-8, so she is in second to one of her closest friends, Serebranskaya. Yana Batryshina was third after the first rotation of 4.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, from the Russian Federation, it's Yana Batryshina.
Well, John, get ready for a little bit of creativity here. You thought the other openings were unusual. Take a look at this one. She will take advantage of her flexibility in a big way.
Earlier, you saw that Jana's dad could not watch. Actually, yesterday he had his face covered. This is his first trip to the United States from Russia. And a few moments ago, in her first performance, he was watching. We just sent our translator, Irina, up there, and she came back with the word that, this is a quote, yesterday his heart would have failed if he watched. Today he is calmer. She has made it to the finals. Farhad Baturchina. This is a sport that should catch on in the United States. As you look at dad and mom, it's beautiful.
That was an absolute treat. The highlight, the opening, the very unusual ending. Did you see her high on her toe in a 180 position? Incredible control. She is going a long way in this sport.
9.916. You are right, Elfie. She is on her way to what could be a gold medal here in Athens. And so here are the standings after rotation 2 of 4 in the rhythmic final. Serebranskaya in first. Baturchina has moved up past Vitrichenko to perform here at Rhythmic Gymnastics in Athens. And I told you about her dad, who is now watching. She's second after 2 rotations. But let's take you back to yesterday. This is what he looked like. This is a replay of yesterday. This is how he watched her routine. He would sneak a peek every now and then go back down and say, I can't watch this. So we did an interview with him between rotations, and he said now he can watch because she's made it to the finals. And here he is now. And here she is with a great shot at a gold medal.
She bears a striking resemblance to Timoshenko, who won the gold in Barcelona for the unified team. Has that same style. This is what she's known for.
Originally from Tashkent, Uzbekistan. located in the Asian part of the former Soviet Union, which is 1,700 miles from Tashkent and Moscow. He's still covering his eyes every now and then.
She did well, Dad. She did well.
I don't think I've ever seen a more nervous father at an event. Score coming up, 9-9-3-3. This means Katerina Serebranskaya from the Ukraine needs a 9-7-9-9 or better to tie or win for the gold for Vysotchina if she stays there after the fourth rotation. We're in the third rotation, the end of the third rotation of 4.
And John, no mistakes. That should not be a problem. But remember, in the semifinals, this was the one event where she had a slight problem, dropped on a very easy element, and only scored a 9.583.
The last girl in the third rotation. She has had thus far the highest scores, 2 9.950s. Katerina Serebranskaya.
Absolutely no problems with focus in this routine. We are definitely going to see another huge score.
Keep in mind that 9.799. If she gets better than that, then she'll be able to pass Vysotchina.
Remember, having to keep that second club in constant motion. She exchanges it under her leg, under the leap, while the other one was being tossed. Extremely difficult.
Excuse me, Elfie, 9.950. That's her third of the competition thus far. So she does, in fact, pass Vysotchina, entering the fourth rotation that will decide the individual all-around gold. So the official standings after 3. Petrova from Bulgaria still back there in 5th place. So rotations of 4. Serebranskaya ahead of Vysotchina and Vitrichenko. Zarapova's in 4th. Maria Petrova in 5th. Here she is, Yana Vysotchina, with great shots at a gold for Russia. She has an interesting way of preparing. Actually, her coach, I'm not sure what this is. It's Elfie was saying it's a trigger point, maybe.
Possibly, or her ears could be cold.
Oh, she looks like she's loving it, though, doesn't she? Yana Vysotchina with a pre-race ritual that rivals that of any of the track and field athletes that we've seen. This is her last performance. It'll be on rhythm. There are her parents, Farhad and Ida. Their first trip to the United States. They're staying with an American family. Her parents have called her Yanina since she was a baby. Today she has a chance to bring gold to her country, give her mom and dad a bigger photo album to take back from their first trip here to the U.S. Certainly born of a working class family. Her dad works in a factory. Her mom teaches Russian language at a middle school.
medal hunt. We have to remember, John, she is very young. It's really unfortunate because it really was not on anything too difficult. She has been having a fantastic competition. Just getting set for another toss slips out of her hands.
Here's a reaction.
Very unfortunate.
Reaction of her parents.
And her dad was watching this time.
It's amazing that just dropping the ribbon, rather, can be such a huge deduction. We've seen it happen before. Vietrichenko up until this point had posted scores no lower than 9.850, and she would have to hope for huge mistakes from Serebranskaya and Vietrichenko both. Serebranskaya in first entering this rotation with Vietrichenko 2/10 away from her. You know, she's the one who can't look. That's her score that's coming up.
I think what's more frustrating to her is that it was on something that was so simple.
They marked her off severely. 9.683 to Vietrichenko. The fate of Vietrichenko is now in the hands of several gymnasts, including Amina Zarapova from Russia. Entering this rotation, she was a little more than 3/100ths of a point behind Vietrichenko, who was in third, so she is out of the medals at this point, unless she can score big here and Vietrichenko make a mistake. Amina's 19. It's the first we're seeing her in the final. If you want to see someone who is flexible in the sport, this is the one.
Of that flexibility. Remember, the judges are only asking for 180. She goes well beyond that.
Amina's mom was opposed to her leaving home, but eventually gave in to her daughter's constant pleading to go train for this sport. Amina Zarapova, her mom wanted her to remain at home because she's the oldest daughter. Her youngest sister and brother are twins, and they needed her help around the house, but ultimately, mom gave in. The parents worked a bit harder to pay for her training.
John, you had mentioned that she would need a very high score, and you will not see that with this exercise. She has been very consistent, however. But of course, has been Vietrichenko who has stolen the hearts of this audience, and not Zarapova.
Zarapova again in fourth, entering this rotation with 5.33. Would give Katerina Serebranskaya from the Ukraine the lead over Yana Vietrichenko after that mistake that she had on her ribbon performance.
And of course, we've seen some incredibly high scores from this athlete. And just to put that score in perspective, she could probably afford a very slight mistake if it should happen.
Her 3 previous scores have been all the same, 9, 9, 5, 0. Tradition of top gymnasts. Won the Olympic gold in the sport 4 years ago. Of course, you remember Tatiana Gutsu back in '92 as well, and then this year, Podkipayeva.
That is a major break. This will be interesting. Repeated the element. I think she surprised herself. You know, this was supposed to be her best apparatus, and as I said at the top of the show, or before this event, that she could possibly afford a very small mistake, but right there she was supposed to just toss the ribbon. It wasn't going anywhere. She missed it, so she'll try again.
The score is coming up very fast. 9.833. Really only a little more than a tenth lower than her other high scores. What do you think, Elle?
Well, obviously, she set the standard at the top of this competition as well. In all the preliminary competitions, she is the one to beat, and this was a good position for her to be in, with Vitrichenko still to come.
So she does, in fact, take the lead with Maria Petrova, who has an outside shot at a bronze medal, but came in as the favorite. And Serebranskaya tied Petrova for first at the 95 Worlds, and the co-world champions find themselves in different positions here in the Atlanta Games. When I asked you what you thought about Serebranskaya's mistake, do you think they marked her off enough?
I think they took as little deduction as possible. The routine had the difficulty. It was wonderful, except for that very slight mistake, and that's in fact how they looked at it, as a very slight mistake.
Just done the math, which indicates to us all that, and I'm not sure she knows this, but Serebranskaya has clinched the gold medal. Nothing these last two gymnasts, Petrova or Vitrichenko, can do will take it away from her. They have to have better than a 10-0. That now is for what's left. I bet the coaches are back there doing the math as well. Maria Petrova from Bulgaria, which could well be her final performance in any Olympic Games.
It was clear from the beginning, John, that the judges definitely did not want to see this athlete win the Olympic Games. You know, she's put off the retirement for so many years. It'd be nice to see her get a medal.
And there is the unofficial gold medalist already signing autographs. So that's an unofficial autograph to Katerina Serebranskaya. Petrova's score is up, a 9.750. Her scores have been lower than her World Championship scores, and they have been booed by this audience here in Athens, Georgia. This brings up Elena Vitrichenko, who is fighting for a silver medal. She needs a 9.8 9.868 to be silver. 9.867 would tie.
And if she does the same type of routine that she did in the semifinals, she'll have to be just a slight bit better to beat that score in order to capture that silver medal today.
She has not posted a score in these finals that high. Her highest is a 9.866. She would need 1/1000th of a point higher than that to tie for silver. Let's watch. She had to reach for that last one.
She reached far. The audience wants it for her. You know, with the medals on the line, we have seen the absolute best performances here.
Olena Vietrichenko does not receive assistance from the Ukrainian Federation. She's sponsored by a travel company that runs cruises on the Black Sea. The company provided funds for her leotards, her travel, and her food money. And they do love her here in Athens. Roundly booed, these 10 judges, with that score of 9.816. But that does assure her and win her the bronze medal here in these games. So here's a look at the final standings here in Rhythmic. Serebranskaya for the gold. Yana Batrishina, who almost got to the gold. She takes silver. And Vietrichenko again wins the bronze.